How you guys doing today? This is Darius from Down on TV. Welcome to the channel. So today I want to talk about why being alone as a man isn't the worst case scenario, isn't the worst thing for you. Truly, what is the worst thing for a man or a young man at that who's on his journey is to have no purpose, no guidance, no mentorship, to not have a end goal towards his life where it has meaning and purpose, so that when he closes his eyes and transitions, that he fulfilled his purpose. But we'll get into all that later. So the main thing is a lot of young men are alone. They don't they don't have a father, or the ones that do have fathers, they're emasculated due to the wife emasculating him, using the system, the legal system, to strip away his natural authority to lead and be his true self in the family unit. So he doesn't have many good examples. Then they go to the internet and they look at a lot of these streamers, these red pill YouTubers. They're all there to just take their money. They're all there to be worshipped and have cult followings like Andrew Tate, which is not what a young man should do. He should not worship another man, because every man is equal in the eyes of God, because every man bleeds and every man will die. But the sad truth is that many men have no guidance. But like I said, being alone isn't the worst case scenario. Thinking you need a girlfriend or wife, you could get those things, but it's going to cost you greatly, because most modern women were not raised to be wives. They were raised to be modern women, which is to work, which is to say they don't need a man. They were trained to become pseudo men. They were not trained to be wives. They were not trained to cook and clean for you and to serve you and to help the family grow as a unit, because everyone has a purpose. They were meant to make money, to try to compete with you, take the jobs that men would have taken, and to basically usurp your authority, because they have the envy of the authority that God gave us, and they resent that. So most young men would not want to be in that scenario where your wife takes all your money, she has all the say. And I see it in the grocery stores and a lot of places where the woman is walking ahead of the man. She's leading in every direction and she has the final say. And everybody look towards the wife to answer all the questions to a man's own health or his own decisions. He can't make his own decisions without his wife's say. And that's a feminine perspective that he's in. He's in a feminine frame. So what young man wants to be like that? A whipped dog. And it's a thankless job, because more than a quarter of marriages are sexless, where the man is not even getting any ass from his wife. So there's not much prospects in the age of modern marriages, due to men not having natural authority over their families and not having the final say in the relationship. And we're not saying that women cannot have a say in the relationship, because she may know some things that he doesn't. But the man should always have the final say, because he's the one to bear the responsibilities, good or bad, if anything happens to the family, because he is legally responsible for his family. He just can't walk away. This is why they put him on alimony and child support. So if he legally is responsible for his family, he should be legally have a say in their direction, in the end result, because their decision makings will affect him, because he is tied to the family. So I would say that men should not want to tie themselves legally to a woman, to a modern woman, because most women are not traditional. Most women do not cook, they do not clean, they will not wash your feet when you come home from the house, they will not give you back massages, and they barely will give you sex. And that's just due to men allowing women to misbehave and allowing the system to usurp their authority intergenerationally by creating laws year by year that strip away slowly at a man's natural authority to now where if your wife cheats on you, you still have to pay her alimony and child support. And you have to pay child support even if you want the kids in your house and that you'll say you'll take care of them. They still will take the kids away. So, what young man would want to be in that kind of situation? And then most women are very picky. Only 2% of men are considered sexually attractive to most women, whether she's attractive or not. Again, only 2% of men are considered sexually attractive to most men. When you look at the Tinder profiles of women, only pick the top 10%. They'll look at 10% of men as average, not attractive, average. And they only saw 2% of men as attractive, meaning they were sexually attractive to them. So most young Gen Zs they don't have a chance. They don't have a chance in hell to get a decent woman, even if they try to play the game. And it shows that only 37% of Gen Z boys or young men or men in general are still virgins. 37%. Just they just checked out or they can't compete. And the game's too rigged. So, like I said, what I would tell a lot of these young men that don't play the game unless you know the cheat codes. If you don't know the cheat codes, don't play the game. You better get those cheat codes. And the cheat codes to the game is one, if you make money online, you can go overseas to a system that doesn't get involved in family matters. They're done between the husband's family and the wife's family. And the man has the final say in home because he's bringing in all the money. So that'll be many third world countries where you can do that: Africa, Southeast Asia, Latin America. So if you make money online, then sure, that's a cheat code you can do. Or if you want to stay in the States, it's sad, but you're going to need a lot of clout, a lot of money, mainly clout. You have to be very popular so you can play that game of being like Kai Sinai or John Zerka or Sneeko. You can play that game where you have a lot of clout and you can exude and magnetize a lot of women to come to you because you're popular on the internet. So that's another cheat code, is to gain clout, become popular, become an influencer, have money, have the status, and you'll get women. But with that, you have to be careful because if you get a chick pregnant, you're going to be on child support. And over 85% of men are on child support, meaning that the people who are on child support, 85% of them are men. So you have to be careful with that. And there's no way to get around child support. It's very difficult to beat child support because the government makes money off of you paying child support. And the last cheat code, really, to quote unquote win the game is basically getting a woman from a traditional community within America, whether that be the Amish, the Muslim community, the Orthodox community, any one of those communities. That is a cheat code within the system. If you don't want to go overseas, is you convert and submit to that community and culture and then getting a wife there. So if you want to do that, if you want to play the game and don't want to die alone, you can do that. So I would tell guys, it's not the worst thing to be alone, but you need to have a purpose outside of women. And that can be a tough thing. But the number one thing is to serve your fellow man. Do good on this earth, meaning helping the people who need help most, which is the homeless, young boys with no fathers who come from single parent homes. Those those can be the people that you can serve and help and make a lasting impression outside of having a wife and kids.